Welcome to Valley Perinatal Services Diabetes Education Module on Diet and Exercise. While this might be the module you are looking forward to the least, it might just be the most important one. It is a tricky balancing act to ensure that your baby is getting all of the nutrition they need, while also trying to ensure that your blood sugar stays stable and you are not going hungry. We never want you to be going hungry. This conversation starts with us discussing carbohydrates. When people think of diabetes, they usually think of sugar. We are going to focus on carbohydrates, though, as they break down into sugar in your body. We can't cut out carbs altogether in pregnancy to keep your blood sugars lower. That is a keto diet, which is not safe in pregnancy. Every cell in your body needs carbohydrates for energy, and so does your baby. Just keep in mind, not all carbs are created equally. 30 grams of carbs from a piece of chocolate cake will not affect your blood sugar the same way that 30 grams of carbs from whole wheat bread will. So what's the difference? And what are carbs? The category of carbs includes things that you might think of like sodas and candies, but also rice, breads, and pastas. But fruits, starchy vegetables, and cow's milk are also considered carbohydrates. If you need some help sorting this out, the blue, yellow, and orange columns of this diagram are carbohydrates. Now, there are simple carbs and complex carbs. Simple carbs are considered simple because your body can break them down into sugar really quickly, meaning all of that sugar is going to hit your bloodstream at once, making your blood sugar go up quickly. All that sugar then wears off at once, and your blood sugar can drop quickly as well. Not all simple carbs are bad, like fruits and milk. We just need to learn the best ways to eat them to help keep your blood sugar steady. Other simple carbs, like sweets and desserts, should be avoided for the most part. We do, however, recommend avoiding all simple carbs for breakfast or bedtime snack. Complex carbs are preferred as they are rich in fiber, vitamins, and minerals. They break down into sugar more slowly over time, keeping your blood sugar and your baby's blood sugar more stable. Some examples of complex carbs include beans and starchy vegetables such as potatoes, yams, corn, peas, and winter squash, and whole grains such as brown rice and whole wheat. These are preferred over refined grains like white flour and white rice, as they don't have the same nutrients and fiber. Pairing carbohydrates with protein each time you eat helps your body break down those carbs more slowly and keeps your blood sugar more stable. Proteins are meats, cheeses, eggs, nuts, non-fat Greek yogurts, and tofu. One simple way to think about balancing your foods is to use the plate method. This suggests that you should try to fill your plate halfway with non-starchy vegetables, 1/4 of the way with protein, and 1/4 of the way with complex carbs. Now that we've talked about how quickly different types of carbohydrates can spike your blood sugars and the role of protein in avoiding those spikes, let's talk about how often you should eat. We recommend eating 3 meals and 3 snacks each day. We know that sounds like a lot of food, but the thought process is that if you were to eat a ton of carbs for breakfast and wait a long time, then eat a ton of carbs for lunch, your blood sugar would go up really high because you ate so many carbs, then come down low because you are going so long without eating. You can think of this as being a roller coaster of blood sugars. That shifting from high to low is what we are trying to avoid because it causes electrolyte shifts and in extreme circumstances can cause bad pregnancy outcomes. Instead, if you eat fewer carbs for breakfast because you are going to eat again soon so you don't need to eat as much, and add a snack between breakfast and lunch, your blood sugar won't go as high because you did not eat as many carbs. Then it won't go down as low because you didn't wait as long between eating, keeping your blood sugar and your baby's blood sugar more stable in the middle. While it is a lot to think about, eating 6 times a day is the best way to help control your blood sugars. It is especially important to ensure that you are not skipping your bedtime snack. We recommend no more than 10 hours between your bedtime snack and breakfast, and you should stay away from fruit and milk during this snack. As we have covered, carbs help your body create energy, so they're kind of like gas for a car. If you go so long without putting gas in your car will break down on the side of the road. If you go so long without putting carbs in your body overnight, or eat too many simple carbs before bed, your blood sugar can get to be too low, and your body will say, I can't let her break down on the side of the road. So, your liver will kick in and start to produce sugar of its own, and it doesn't know to stop at 88 to give you a perfect fasting. So, your fasting blood sugars can actually be higher if you go too long overnight without eating. So the big takeaway here is, to help keep your blood sugar the most stable, you should eat 3 meals and 3 snacks per day, ensuring that you are pairing carbs with protein each time you eat. Another thing that can help keep your blood sugar stable is moderate exercise. Your muscles help metabolize sugar, so even so much as a 10-minute walk after dinner can help bring your blood sugars down. It is recommended that you aim for about 30 minutes of moderate exercise per day. This could be cleaning, yard work, light weightlifting, dancing, yoga, or walking. Do not start a strenuous workout routine if you are not doing that prior to pregnancy. You also should not be doing any exercise that could risk you falling or hitting your belly. If you have any questions about which activities are best or safest for you, please ask your provider. Now that we know to be pairing carbs with protein for all meals and snacks, let's talk about how much of each you should be eating. Then, we will discuss how to count carbohydrates. Per the American Diabetes Association, you should be eating about 15 to 30 grams of carbs for breakfast, 30 to 45 grams for lunch and dinner, and 15 grams of carbs with each snack. Then, a good rule of thumb is to have at least half as many grams of protein as you had carbs. So if you had a 15-gram carb snack, you should pair it with at least 7 to 8 grams of protein. Now, part of the point of counting carbohydrates is to ensure that you are not eating more carbohydrates than you should. Most people are shocked at how many carbs are in their favorite meals when they begin to count. Just remember, you can never overdo it on protein, so if you want to have 30 grams of protein with your 15-gram carb snack, go for it. This is a good way to fill up if you are still hungry. Now, let's learn how to actually count how many carbohydrates you are eating. For items that are bought and have nutrition labels, we start by looking at that label. Let's look at this one for bread together. We start by looking at the serving size. The serving size listed here is 1 slice. So if we were going to eat a sandwich, for example, and have 2 pieces of bread, we would need to multiply the number of carbs by 2. Now, we find the carbohydrates. You might see some packaging advertise low numbers of net carbs, but we don't pay attention to net carbs in pregnancy. So, we look on this label and find total carbohydrates. For this bread, it says there is 22 grams of carbs per serving. So if we were eating 2 slices, it would be 44 grams. You count protein the same way. On this label, this piece of bread has 5 grams of protein, so it would be 10 grams for the 2 slices. To keep things simple, if a food has more grams of carbs than protein, we consider it a carb. If it has more protein than carbs, we consider it a protein. So, this bread is a carb with 22 grams of carbs per slice and only 5 grams of protein per slice. Whereas peanut butter, for example, still has carbs, but has more grams of protein than carbs. So we don't need to count the carbs in the peanut butter and only consider it a protein. Now, if a food does not come with a label, how do we know how many carbs are in it? We can take a look at this graphic again for help with that. Remember that the blue, yellow, and orange columns are all carbs. Each food listed here has the amount of that food that would equal 15 grams of carbs. For example, if we look at mashed potatoes, 1/2 cup would equal 15 grams of carbs. So if we were eating dinner, which should include 30 to 45 grams of carbs, you could eat 2 servings, so 1 cup to equal 30 grams of carbs. When in doubt, you can also search online to try to figure out carbohydrate counts in foods. Apps like Fat Secret or MyFitnessPal will count carbs if you log your meals using their free memberships. Just be careful to not use the net carbs function, and do not follow their recommended carb or protein goals, as your goal during pregnancy is not to lose weight. You can use these apps to help ensure that you are staying in the recommended ranges of 15 to 30 grams of carbs for breakfast, 30 to 45 grams for lunch and dinner, and 15 grams of carbs for snacks. We understand that thinking through what to eat this many times a day can feel like a full-time job. In your packet, we have included some sample meal plans. First, there is one meal plan for an entire week with all foods that can be purchased through WIC and SNAP. Just remember, just because a food is covered by WIC or SNAP does not mean that it is automatically healthy or good for your blood sugar control. For example, cereal is never going to be great for your blood sugars. Next, there is a multicultural meal plan. There are also 2 handouts about snacks. The first, the Mix and Match snack list, has a list of carbs and a list of proteins. Pick one of each, and you have a well-balanced snack. There is also a list of 15-gram carb snack examples that are all paired with protein. We hope that these handouts can help get you started. You can also discuss other ideas with your provider. That's it. You have completed Module 4.